1965, two teenagers went into the Devil's Hole, and they never came out. Now, they say when the devil gets a hold of your ass, he ain't letting go. But that's where we're headed there now, so come along for the adventure. So, Anna, you ready to go to the Devil's Hole?
Let's go.
All right, let's do it. So the Devil's Hole is a geological formation. Here it's in Ash Meadows inside Death Valley. So we're gonna poke around here for a little while, and we're gonna get over to the Devil's Hole. So hang around for that, you don't wanna miss it. But we're also gonna poke around and see what else we can see here. There's a lot of good stops along the way. I think there's a cabin, there's some crystal reserve. I'm gonna flip around here and show you the map and kind of show you where we are right now and kind of where everything else is. Okay, so here's the map, and like right here is the Devil's Hole. That's kind of where we are right now. And then down here is the Crystal Reserve. And then there is also a Longstreet cabin. I don't know if we'll make our way up there. We're going to try. I don't know if it's worth the visit. I've kind of seen some of the photos, but who knows? We'll see how much time we have today. And then obviously we're going to end our day somewhere where we can get a beer and celebrate our adventure for the day. So, all right. Stay with us. So the Devil's Hole is like a geothermal pool. It's about 91 degrees, 33 degrees Celsius for you folks in Europe. But it's like a nice hot tub. I mean, I know hot tubs get a little hotter, but 91 degrees is not too bad. You can, if you wanted to get down in there, you could. As far as temperature-wise, but believe it or not, I think it's blocked off and you can't get down there anymore. And I think what happened is a couple years ago, a couple of idiots went in there and they were drinking beer and they were hanging out down in the Devil's Hole, and they were throwing up, and they killed some fish that are rare fish. We'll talk more about those fish in a little bit later. But anyway, because of these idiots, you can't really get too close to the Devil's Hole, but we're going to go there and we're going to see how far we can get a good view of it and show you what that's all about. So, but then again, it's just another example of, people ruin things for everybody else with their stupidity, but I'm not going to get on that tangent. So anyway, hang around. So here we go. We're entering into the Devil's Hole. So just to let you know, when you get out here, you can drive out here. It's all desert road, unpaved road to get out here, several miles up the highway. But once you get to the spot to park, you're going to have to hoof it up to the Devil's Hole itself. But it's really not that far. So even if you're not in great shape, you can still make it. So as I was saying, you make a great hot tub you might want to dive into, but I wouldn't recommend diving into it because back in 1965 there were two teenagers. Okay, I guess they were amateur divers, and the first one went in because he wanted to dive into the Devil's Hole. He wanted to see what was down there, but he never came back up, never resurfaced. So then his buddy, I guess, subsequently went looking for him, and he didn't come back up either. So I mean, basically lost forever. So there were some diving expeditions that went down there looking for these kids, but they were never found. Gone forever. So, it's really cavernous. It's an aquifer that goes way down. I mean, I think they say 1,200 feet, but it's so deep that it's actually never really been mapped out. So they don't recommend kind of going in there. They've kind of actually blocked it off. But, there have been people who have broken in and done that, and I kind of alluded to that a little while ago. So, and the reason why they don't really want you going down there is this is rare fish. It's like the rarest fish in the world. I think they're called the pupfish. And I was going to talk about the pupfish in a little bit. But it's so rare that they don't want anybody messing with these things. It's actually so rare of a fish that they've cut off water rights to a lot of local ranchers around here that could use that water. I mean, like they say, that water comes from the aquifer that's really deep. They say it's so deep that when they've had seismic activity as far as like Japan, that the water levels rise in the Devil's Pool. That's kind of a cool fact. So anyway, let's keep pressing on. We're hoofing it to the Devil's Hole. So the only divers that actually get to go into this Devil's Hole now is, I guess, twice a year. They send an expedition down to count the pupfish to see how many are left, because they want an idea of that. So it's kind of cool. So yeah, they don't let any other diving expeditions happen here anymore because of they want to protect that fish, except for the 2 expeditions they do every year. So Anna, you ready to go that way? Let's check it out. All right, getting closer. So you're gonna walk through this path. It's all caged. So they got some placards here to kind of talk about what we're gonna see here. So that's a picture there of the pupfish. All right. So I wish this cage was in here so you can see it. You can kind of see this better. It talks about tsunami in the desert. So it kind of gives you a good sense of how deep that thing is and how like it's the aquifer and how the water is down there. Just, I mean, yeah, if you try to go diving in there, you're going to get lost. You're not coming back up. So there you go. That is the Devil's Hole right there. Okay, we got a pretty good aerial view of that. So believe it or not, that little opening, the water just goes down 1,200 feet or even beyond. We don't even know how far down that goes because, like I said, they never really mapped it out. It's just too massive and too deep. So I could see how if you were a diver, you didn't know what you were doing, you can get lost and not come back up like those kids in 1965. As I said earlier, when the devil gets a hold of your ass, he ain't letting go. All right, so you can see right there, there's actually a staircase to where people could actually walk down to the opening of the hole. You can't do that anymore because this thing is unless you hop the fence like those idiots did, and caused all this closure now, and other folks just can't get down close anymore and enjoy it. All right, so actually there's 2 paths here. We just went to the main path that shows you the hole to the look into the Devil's Hole. Now there's another path that goes up a little higher. Not really sure what's up there. I talked to a couple of the hikers. They said it's worth the venture. Maybe you get a different vantage point. And anyway, one of the things I wanted to tell you about is, this is Death Valley considered, but it's not in the actual Death Valley Park that you may know of, which is maybe, I don't know, 50 miles away maybe? Correct me if I'm wrong, put it in the comments, but it's not inside. We're in the Nevada side. The actual Death Valley Park itself, proper, is on the California side, because we're kind of straddling the border right now. So just know that. This is the Ash Meadows version of Death Valley. But it's a cool spot, man. Good way to spend your time on a Saturday afternoon, Saturday morning. Instead of being in that casino, throwing the bones, giving your money away, get out here and see Nevada, man. It's a beautiful state. All right, looks like we're coming up on some sort of structure or hole after the hike up the hill. Okay, what do we got here? I don't really know. I can see here. Let's get up here. So Anna, why don't you tell us about this pupfish? I guess the viewers want to know a little bit more about it, so why don't you take it away?
A lot of people would assume that because the majority of Nevada is covered by the desert, that we don't have a lot of fish. But that would be wrong, because based on this map, we do have a lot of rare species that still reside in the desert. One of the rarest fish in the world actually happens to reside here inside the Devil's Hole. As of 2022, they only could find about 263. They're rapidly decreasing because of some microscopic diving bug that keeps going down and eating the eggs.
All right, so thanks for that, Anna. Appreciate it. Learn a little bit more about the puffish. And just goes to show you, no matter what us humans do to try to protect the fish, nature takes over. And you've got this beetle that's just devouring all the eggs. So what are you gonna do? Anyway, we're gonna press on. We're gonna try to get down to this crystal reserve to see what that's all about, and maybe look for that cabin. So stick around. So one of the things that you probably run into a lot when you're poking around out in the desert in these small little desert towns in Nevada or California, it's like you never know if you're going to run into something that you think's open and it turns out to be closed. So I don't know how long this place has been closed, but obviously, let's take a closer look. You can see here it's not in business anymore. The old payphone, check that out. Yeah. Oh, it looks like it caught on fire, hon. Yeah. So look. So you can see there, it looks like this place caught on fire. Beware pickpockets and loose women. So it's kind of a shame because it looked like it would have been a pretty cool place to hang out at one point. So, oh well, that's what you get, man. You just don't know when you come out to the desert whether you're going to find a place that's open or closed. So, all right, let's see. Take a walk around. It's cool. Oh, there's a little bunkhouse back here. I'm in the bunkhouse. What?
Looks like it's a motel or something.
Yeah, it's a bunkhouse. Down the road, I think there's a brothel that used to be open. I don't know if it's still open now. We'll probably take a picture of it and stick it up there for you to see. But I don't think we'll film over there because it's kind of looks kind of desolate. But we'll take a photo of that. So let's see what this is over here.
Good prices.
So the slice of pizza and a soda was $3.25. I wonder how long ago that was. Definitely before the Biden administration, that is for sure. So as you're perusing through Ash Meadows, this is one of the stops where you can go to. It's called it's the Crystal Reserve, and it's a cool little spot. They got a lot of wildlife out here, and you know, Ash Meadows kind of doesn't really get a lot of love as far as Death Valley attractions go. A lot of people it's kind of overlooked. I guess it's because it is off the beaten path a little bit, but here it is. Here is all her glory right here. We'll give you a closer look at that in a minute. And I got this fly. He's just buzzing me, man. Anyway, so I don't know if they've actually used this spot out here for some movies in Hollywood. I remember this movie years ago, back in the 90s. Jerry Orbach was in it. They filmed it here. This is right where he got whacked, actually. I remember that movie. I think it was called Delusion. So, but let's take a closer look at this beautiful, beautiful reservoir. So the reserve's called Crystal Reserve, and there's a town nearby called Crystal. We went through that. Maybe it has something to do with the minerals in the area. Crystals, I don't really know. Didn't do that much deep research as far as minerals in the area. So I'm just kind of showing you the sights and the sounds of Ash Meadows, Aramaigosa Valley. So far we went to the Devil's Hole, excuse me. It was Death Hole for a couple of guys, that's for sure. And the reserve, and now we're gonna look for that cabin. So we'll keep the adventure going. I'm glad you're sticking around. I'm glad you come out here every couple of weeks to watch your videos, and I hope they're entertaining for you. So, all right, let's keep going. There's a pathway to the cabin. That's kind of cool. Jack's, they call Jack's cabin. I believe Jack and his wife Susie lived here. I think they say from 1895 to like almost 1900. So he lived here about 4 or 5 years. And can you imagine living out here in the harsh desert? Not a lot of water out here, but I think we can maybe find a picture of him. There's a picture of him on a placard. We're gonna get that. But anyway, let's go inside the cabin. Let's see what's in here. Okay. All right. So they say this cabin was actually washed away in the 80s, some flood. They've kind of refurbished it, and looks like the roof is new. And but yeah, I mean, imagine living here. I mean, here they have some shelves here, and you can tell it feels a lot cooler in here, away from the sun. So that's how they kept themselves cool in those days. But just think about this. 130 years ago, this is how people lived out here in Nevada, without air conditioning. All right. Okay, so there is Jack's cabin. Okay, now is it worth the 4-mile trip? Sure, why not? Especially if you're off just kind of perusing the desert here. I used the word peruse twice in this video, so that's unusual. But anyway, let's see what else we can find out here in the desert. All right, so on our adventure, we've covered a lot of territory so far. So we're gonna wrap our video up here in the next moment here. Probably at this is the Long Street Cabin. There's actually the Long Street Casino. Maybe about 10 miles away at the state line. They got beer there. I'm ready for a beer. Are you ready for a beer? Let's go. We'll wrap this thing up then. All right, so we're gonna wrap up our video here at the Long Street Casino at the state line. We're gonna go in there and have a beer. But until next time, cheers from Beers of Frontier.